Hello and welcome to Richard's Kitchen. Today's recipe is twice baked cheese souffle. If you like this video, please subscribe to our channel. Leave a comment below, hit the like button and share. A full list of ingredients is in the description below. So we're going to start by making the base for the cheese souffle, and we need to melt 55 grams of butter in a pan, and then we're going to add 55 grams of plain or all-purpose flour to form a roux. We're going to cook the roux for a couple of minutes, continuously stirring all of the time, and we do this to make sure that the finished souffle hasn't got a floury, grainy taste or texture. Now add 230 milliliters of hot milk. And the reason that we use hot milk is because when it's stirred in, it will thicken straight away. Now we're going to add 150 grams of mature cheddar cheese. If you can't get cheddar cheese, then gruyere is also a really good cheese for this souffle. Keep stirring until all of the cheese is melted and the souffle base is nice and smooth. And then we're going to add 8 whole egg yolks. Stir the egg yolks into the souffle base, which by now should be nice and silky, and then season with salt and pepper, and if you like, add a teaspoon of Dijon mustard. Stir this in and tip it into a bowl. Cover with cling film and put it to one side whilst we prepare the rest of the ingredients. Into a saucepan add 300 milliliters of double or heavy cream. Season it with salt and bring it to a gentle simmer. Cook it for 2 to 3 minutes, pour it into a jug and keep it warm. Now we're going to whip up the egg whites for the souffle. First of all, make sure your bowl is meticulously clean. Add 8 egg whites and a pinch of salt. Whisk the egg whites until they're light and fluffy, but be careful not to over whip them. What we want is a medium peak rather than a firm or stiff peak, which will make them more difficult to fold into the souffle base. Now add a third of the whipped egg white to the souffle base and use a whisk to whisk this in. What we're doing here is we're loosening the souffle base before we fold in the rest of the egg white. Add half of the remaining egg white to the bowl. But this time, use a spatula to carefully cut and fold the egg white into the souffle base. Add the remaining egg white to the bowl and gently fold into the souffle mix, being careful not to knock out too much air from the whipped egg whites. To prepare the souffle moulds, line them with a generous amount of butter, and then fill them to about 2/3, allowing for the souffle to rise. Tap the souffle moulds very gently to release any trapped air that might be under the souffle mix. The cooking time will all depend on the size of the souffles. These souffle moulds are 9 cm by 4 cm, and I've cooked these in a preheated oven at 200 degrees centigrade or 392 degrees Fahrenheit for between 7 and 8 minutes. Pour some of the warm cream that we prepared earlier into the middle of a dish, and then very carefully tip out one of the cheese souffles onto the middle of the cream. Sprinkle the souffle with some more mature cheddar cheese or gruyere cheese and pop it under a grill. This is where the souffle gets its second bake, and we just want to gently melt the cheese. And now the cheese souffle is ready to serve. But before I serve it, I always like to sprinkle it with some chopped chives. This will give it a really nice oniony flavour.